welcome. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us this evening. Today's webinar is entitled Market Your Way to an Extra 100K. And just to give you a bit of an insight into who we are and why we've come together to deliver this webinar, it's one of a series. So I think it's the third one that we've delivered so far. So I'm Melissa Shervington, and I'll tell you a bit more about who I am in more detail shortly, but joined by Simone Bell and Royston Cumberbatch. And we met approximately 3 years ago now. Roy has a tendency to say it was last year, but time flies when you're having fun because it was actually nearly 3 years ago. And we actually met as colleagues, if you like, on a mastermind program. And we came together and recognized that actually there was collaboration in the services that we were offering. So we all work with business owners and entrepreneurs. And we recognized that there was definitely synergy. So for the last year, we've been working together behind the scenes in a mastermind group of our own. And we've all reaped the benefits of being in that mastermind group. So we meet weekly. We all share our own journeys in business, our own challenges. We give each other guidance, solutions, and it's just nice to be able to have a group whereby you can be vulnerable, because business is a journey that can often get lonely. And along that journey, it's important that you surround yourself with people who are lifting you up. And often that can be quite challenging, but we don't hold back. We challenge one another because we're all here to support one another to be the best version of who we can possibly be, so that therefore we can give the best service to our clients in the best possible way. So that's really why we came together. We've all got a unique way of the way in which we operate and the way in which we offer our services to our clients, but collectively the outcome is humongous. So recently we decided to look at how our own businesses have benefited, and we've individually, added over an extra 100K onto our bottom line over the last 12 months by implementing some of the marketing techniques and the secret sources, which we're going to share some of those with you this evening, because we recognize that actually we've created a blueprint which we'd like to now share with others, in the form of really expanding the mastermind model. We will tell you a bit more about that later on, as the webinar goes through, but I just wanted to give you an understanding as to why we're here, why we're delivering this webinar, and where it emerged from, so you understand the history of that. One of the things that you'll see in the title, Market Your Way to an Extra 100K, one of the things that we all recognize that many of our clients or prospective clients, when they contact us, they seem to want a quick way. I know we're operating in a microwave generation to a degree, but everybody seems to want a quick way of making that extra money and adding that to their business. And whilst I would say there is no quick overnight way, but there are tools and there are techniques that can really speed up and make you more efficient as a business to be able to add that to your bottom line more quickly. So that's the baseline of how the webinar will run. It's focusing on marketing techniques that will get you to the place that you want to be financially. And in fact, one of the statistics that always sticks out to me is 73% of a buying decision is made before a prospective client contacts you as a business. So what does that tell us? That tells us that the more effective your marketing is, and that is reaching your ideal clients, that is the way in which your products and your services are branded and marketed, the more likely you are to convert that customer or client into becoming a paying client for your business. So our focus will be on marketing, ultimately to save you money and also to make you money for your businesses as we go through. So that's a little bit more about who we are, and we will go into more detail as we go through the webinar. But now I'm going to proceed. So who am I? So for those of you who don't know who I am, which is the majority of you, my name's Melissa Shervington, and I've been in business for coming up to 13 years now. My career, my background started out originally in social housing in 2008. And 2001, sorry, not 2008. So that's almost 20 years ago. I left my job, my career in 2008 to go into self-employment and into business, and I've not looked back ever since. So I've witnessed different elements of the business journey along my way. I've witnessed the rock bottom times where it's been really difficult, and I've witnessed the mountain peak experiences too. And what I've done is really reflected back along my journey and taken out the key learnings. And that's what I use when I'm working with clients in helping them to avoid the pitfalls, because I've been there at times, and how to strive for high heights, i.e., the mountain peak experiences. And I do this ultimately through three key areas, and that's through business coaching, through training, and through public speaking. As part of those packages, I've created a formula, if you like, which is called the Elevated Entrepreneurs Solution, which is a 7-step program. And this can be implemented in as little as 12 weeks. But you'll see that it starts with purpose being the foundation. And I identify purpose as it's really working on you, knowing your purpose and aligning that with your business purpose. Because I'm sure you'll all agree that anything that isn't built on a solid foundation is not sustainable. And there's lots of businesses out there that I've witnessed that don't make it past sometimes 12 months. And the majority of the time is because they haven't solidified their foundation, and their purpose being key to that. It goes all the way up to the 7th step being paradise, which is basically freedom, which is where entrepreneurs can begin to outsource, delegate, let go of the operation and running of their business, and have the freedom to live the life that they want and they dream of. So throughout the course of my section in this webinar, what I'm going to be focusing on is one of the steps which contains multiple modules, which is positioning, and that is all around your marketing and how you position yourself effectively in the marketplace. So one of the questions that I want to ask you is how in such a busy and crowded marketplace, because this is one of the problems that most, if not all, of my clients when they first engage with me have, and they wonder how can they stand out and differentiate themselves in such a busy and a crowded marketplace. So I'm just asking you that for you to begin to think about that in the back of your minds now. What makes you different? Why are you unique? Why should a potential customer choose you over your competitor? We're living in an age where it's so easy to set up a business. I mean, anybody can jump on Companies House and register a business. Social media platforms are available. It's free. It's quick. Instantly, you could have a business set up overnight. But how are you unique, and how will you stand out against such a noisy and crowded market? And it's really important in order to do so that you identify the value that you are offering to your customers and clients. The value would differentiate you from that of your competitors. It's important to recognize who your competitors are, so you do your research, but also who your ideal clients are, so that you can ensure that you're effectively communicating that value to them, and therefore attracting them to purchase your products or your services. If you get this wrong, then you're in danger, like many of those businesses that don't make it past the first 12 months or 5 years. You're in danger of not sustaining your business. But if you get this right, then you will be one of those businesses that are striving for those higher heights and huge success. So it's really important that you understand the value that you're offering to your clients. So you've probably guessed that the theme of my content today is all around value. And one of the things I want to deep dive into with you is value proposition. Now, you may or may not have heard of what a value proposition is. So just to give you a bit more insight, so your value proposition will tell your prospective clients why they should do business with you rather than your competitors, and makes the benefits of your products or services crystal clear from the outset. So as I said earlier, it's the why they should do business. But in order for somebody to do business with you, they need to understand how you are benefiting them. So in essence, what you should end up with after you do a value proposition exercise is a clear statement which tells your markets and your ideal clients clearly and precisely, because the fact is confused people don't buy, and many people are confusing their prospective clients with their messages. It may sound okay to them in their minds, but for a potential client reading, for example, if it's too complicated, there's too much text. I mean, we've all visited a website at some point in our lives where you go on and it overwhelms you with the amount of text on there and you don't know how to navigate. So it's really important that you really make your services clear, concise, so that your customers can understand in the first instance how you can help them and what value you can give to them. So just to go into a bit more detail, the first step in being able to do this is to identify who your customer is. Now, you've probably heard of having an ideal client or an ideal client avatar. So that is being able to really identify who you're targeting. I've lost count of the amount of entrepreneurs and small business owners I've spoken to. And when I ask them the question, who are your ideal clients? Many of them will answer, well, everybody. And I always have to step back and start to look at, okay, how can everybody possibly be your client? How are you effectively marketing to everybody? Now, you may well be, but it will be costing you a lot of money in marketing and advertising, because if you're just throwing information out there, not sure who's receiving it, not sure if you're speaking the right language to attract the people that you want, then it's a task of literally just throwing money into thin air a lot of the time. When you identify who your customers are, you can streamline and really focus in your content and your marketing, so you're speaking to that ideal client. Just to give you an example, I've worked with clients across sectors. One recently, Priya, her name is, she's a photographer. And when she first came to me, she felt really overwhelmed. She was wondering why she was doing so much social media posting. She was doing Facebook ads, she was doing Google ads, but she just wasn't attracting the clients who she wanted to work with. And she was getting inquiries, but they just didn't seem to be converting. So the first exercise we did was really looked at, okay, who were you targeting? And we were able to niche down. She now only services the fashion industry, because we recognize that a lot of people who were making the inquiries, who she wasn't quite hitting, were coming from that industry. So we started to fine tune that down to the size of the companies she was targeting, the location that they were in, the age, the interests that these customers and clients had, so that all of her marketing could be targeted specifically to that client audience. I will go into a little bit more detail as we go through, but I just wanted to identify that the first step you need to get right is to identify who your customer is. The second step is to state the problem that you are solving for your customer. So every customer that you come into contact with will have a problem, and the product or service that you offer should be resolving that problem for them. So again, an example, I used to run an estate agency business. If you're in the UK, it would be estate agency. Outside, it may be real estate. And one of the issues that I found was where I was operating in a very, very competitive industry. There's 26,000 estate and letting agents in the UK. And the issue that I had was a lot of people were going with the commercial brands because they recognize those through their mass marketing. So all of the commercial agents who could afford to do the television adverts and where you would see their boards in areas, customers would navigate towards them, which didn't mean that they could actually solve their problems. It was just because they had a stronger presence. One of the things I decided to do was to niche down to the higher end of the market. And when I began to look at my client avatar, once I'd done that step, I began to then ask myself, what problem am I solving for these clients? Now, at first instance, as an estate agent, you're just thinking, okay, they want to get their property sold. But when I dug deeper and I started to speak to my clients and really find out what their problems were, they were stuck, the majority of them. Many of them were stuck because they were in homes that they wanted to move away from for different reasons. For some, it was because their children were moving schools and they wanted to be in a different location. And if they weren't in that postcode area catchment, their children couldn't get into those schools. So it was a big problem for them. For some, they'd gone through relationship breakdowns. So they were living in homes where they were no longer getting on with their ex-partners now. So again, huge problem for them. Whatever the problem was, it was important that I recognized the problem that I was solving for them. And that was the fact that they were stuck. So in my marketing, I would communicate that we were there to help them move on in life. And I noticed a massive turnaround just by changing the way that we were communicating our marketing. Whereas all of the other agents were busy talking about how many homes had sold in that area, their targets, their turnaround times, they weren't focusing on the problems that the clients were facing, which is why I was able to take a good share of the market in the area that I was operating in. So I didn't go down too well with the competitors, but I knew that I'd got the marketing right. So another question for you is, what problem are you solving for your clients and customers? And are you communicating that effectively in your marketing? Because if you can identify the problem, then you've got them almost there on board already, because they then know that you understand them and you can help them. So it's really important. Thirdly, identifying your solution, which is your product or your service, and then effectively communicating your solution for your customers' problems. So when you look at your products and services, you may have one, you may have a range. Ultimately, these are solutions for your customers. So are you effectively communicating those as solutions? It's just like giving somebody who has a headache a tablet to say this is going to take away the pain that you're experiencing. So you focus on the fact that they have a headache, you touch that pain point for them, you re-emphasize the fact that they have a headache. What is this causing? This is causing different chemical imbalances in the body. It's causing them to not be able to go out. It's causing them to be angry, whatever the impact is. And then you offer them the solution. Because you've shown them that you understand how they're feeling, you know what the problem is, and you have a solution, you are more likely to convert that customer into a buying customer for you. And also, back to the pencil diagram, how do you stand out from the crowd is by demonstrating your differentiators. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about what makes you unique, which was the question I asked at the beginning, the rhetorical question, by the way. So what is it that makes you unique, and how do you stand out from the crowd? Your customers, your prospective customers and clients will also need to understand why you. What makes you different from everybody else? Another example of going back to the estate agency, one of the things that we would do to be different and to disrupt the marketplace, we would use bespoke for sale boards. So when people would drive past homes, especially if it was a gated home where you couldn't see the home from the roadside, because we service the high end of the market, we would use a couple of internal images of the home on the for sale board. So people would have a taste and a flavour of what that home looked like. We noticed our viewings increased by 28% after we included the bespoke for sale boards. We'd also home style and stage the homes. We used magazine style brochures. We did lifestyle shots. We did lifestyle videos, lots of things that our competitors weren't doing. So we became known as the best agent for marketing in the area, which in turn brought a lot more custom to our business. So how are you demonstrating your differentiators? How are you telling your customers that you're different to the other competitors? Because by doing these 4 steps, what you're doing is you're cutting down your costs because your marketing is targeted, but you're also adding to your business because you're generating a wealth of new paying clients and customers to your business. So just a quick overview of one of the tools that this is what we use in our mastermind group and when working with clients is the value proposition canvas. Now, this was created by a company called Strategize. I've had the book. In fact, I'll show you quickly because I thought I'd bring it to side. I've had this for a while. The Business Model Generation book, which consists of different business models. And as entrepreneurs and business owners, I recommend you all get that book. And this is an extract taken from the business model canvas, which this company created. And this shows you on the right-hand side where you'll see the gains, the customer jobs and the pains. The customer jobs are the key things that your clients and customers want to achieve. So that is looking at their goals and the things that they want to do. So if you think of a cleaning business, for example, targeting customers, then these customer goals may be to have more time and freedom because they don't have time to keep their house clean. So they employ a cleaning operative to do that job for them. So their gains are they're gaining more time and freedom, but the pains that they're currently in is they're probably feeling embarrassed if their house isn't clean when guests come around. So as the business on the left-hand side, if you look at the gain creators, when you're targeting that client base, you will show how the gains, i.e. your solutions, are meeting their gains and you're having a right fit there. The same example I gave with the pain relievers and the pains earlier, if you have a headache and you're offering a solution for that, you have a right fit. Your products and services are fitting in with the customer jobs, the gains and the pains. So you're meeting them exactly where you need to ensure that the value that you're offering is meeting all of the customer needs. I know I've given you a quick overview. I'm conscious of time, but we will go into this in more detail. This is something that we cover in depth in one of the modules, which I can tell you a little bit more about later. But I definitely recommend that if you haven't come across this model, that you do a bit of research around that at this stage. Thank you for listening. I do have to hand over to my colleagues now to be respectful of time, but these are my social media contact pages. So if you want to hear any more information on any of that content, do follow me, but we'll give you a bit more information later as to how we can deep dive further into some of that information. Thank you. I'm going to hand over now to Simone.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. That was brilliant. So hi guys, welcome again. And I'm just going to take a bit of time now to discuss, following on from what Melissa said, which has really flowed in really well into what I'm going to be talking about. Once you've understood your value proposition, when you understand basically the value that you bring and what's going to make you stand out, you need to have what is your actual product, what is your actual service, and promoting it. Because obviously, unless people know about it, you can have the best product or service, but if your customer doesn't know about it, you're not going to have a business. So that's what I'll be discussing. But firstly, who am I? So I'm Simone Bell. I hope you can all see the slides fine, but I'm Simone Bell. I am a success coach. I am a qualified event professional and I have an event management business. Been in business nearly 10 years now, but if you would have met me sort of mid-2000s, you would have seen me stuck behind a desk, employed, feeling overwhelmed, feeling overworked and underpaid, completely stuck. And although I was feeling like that, I did what most people go and do. I went and looked for another job because that's what you're taught to do, to sort of stay in that employment because it's safe. But I found, so I went and got another job, moved, like I said, I had a degree in event management. So I started working for a large global event management company, traveling the world, doing events, a different country every week. But I was still feeling stuck because it was something internal. And so I took the leap. I'd always wanted to start my own business, but I thought maybe I don't know enough. Maybe I'm not sure. Maybe how am I going to make it work? How will I get customers? Marketing. But I took a punt on myself. But what I did first is invest in myself. So invest in my personal development, got coaches, got a business coach, and really learned about marketing, that what we're talking about today. And now have an award-winning company, and then retrained as a coach because I was having people ask me, well, how did you do it? How do you start a business? How do you do the marketing side? I keep talking about that because we're going to be talking, that's what we're talking about this evening. And so I started coaching, and I've been doing that and just helping entrepreneurs have more purposeful and more profitable businesses, because I believe that that's important. And I do that with my formula, which is the Abundant Entrepreneur Accelerator. It's a 7-step system, and within each of the 7 steps there are other modules. But it's really looking at from mindset. It starts there because 90% of what we do is around mindset. 90% of success is around our mindset. You can have the tools and techniques, but if your mindset isn't right, you're not going to be successful. And a lot of people miss that. So look at mindset, look at motivation, money, mission, and so forth, up into mastery. And really, balance is a big thing that I speak about, having a balance in your life. So having a great business, but not then having everything else downfall. So it's about that equal balance and abundance. So what I'm going to be speaking about for this short time is really from the step 5 around marketing, which is the time to shine techniques. That's what I'm going to be focusing on. So as I said, Melissa touched on this about your unique selling proposition. So now I'm going to be talking about your product and your promotion. So when I'm saying product, I'm talking about a physical item or a service, because some of you on the call maybe have a service. It still relates to you what I'm going to be speaking about, or a virtual offering that satisfies a need or desire. So like Melissa said, when you understand your ideal customer, your ideal client, it's about understanding what do they need, what's their problem. So Melissa said, they're not just buying your products or your products, they're actually buying a solution. And so it's really important for you to understand what the problem is. And then your product or service or virtual offering is that solution. And then you need to be able to promote that effectively, because like I said, if they don't know about it, they're not going to buy, you're not going to have a business, you're not going to hit your next 100K. So your product is, you've got to be able to communicate that in order to inform, influence, and persuade your customers to buy or use your product or service. So I'm going to be looking first, focusing on your product or service. And there are 4 main decisions that you need to make when developing your product or service. Now, you may want to write these down. They all start with S. I'm going to be going through these in a little bit of detail, because if you miss this part, it's really difficult to then get onto the promotion side of things. So the first thing you want to talk about or think about, consider, decide on is the style of your product. What I'm saying that when I'm talking about style, I'm talking about the look and appearance, how it looks. Now, some of you might not think that's important. It's very important. It is said that it takes 7 seconds for people to make a judgment. So before they've looked at what your product does, what it, the features or anything like that, they're looking at how it looks. How is it appealing to the eye? So your products, they want to see, the colors, the what's on there, shapes, sizes, etc. But the same is true for your service. It might be your website. Someone's going to go to your website. In the 7 seconds, they're going to decide if they're going to keep scrolling. Your social media page, they're going to make that judgment in such a short time. You've got a very short window to make a good first impression. Now, just for example's sake, I wanted to touch on, so I have these alphabet affirmation cards. This isn't a sell, this is an example, okay, that I sell, and they're for young children. So I developed these cards, and they're flashcards, but they have positive affirmations, okay, on them. Now, you can go to any shop and get flashcards for children for a couple of pounds. You do. I don't sell mine for a couple of pounds. I'm going to tell you why. Firstly, the style, and I hope that you can see these. All right. So the style of these, the appearance, the look. I had to say the end user are children, but the people actually buying it are the parents. So I'm sort of dealing with 2. I've got to hit 2 sort of customers, if you will, with the look. So it's got to attract children, be attractive for children. They're going to have to want to play with them. So the bright colors, etc. But the packaging is also important, because the parents are going to be looking at that. Okay, what does this look like? What does it say? There is a particular demographic that these are aimed at. So the picture on the front, the child on the front, the pictures, it's important. So you can see what is your product? What does it look like? And is it appealing to your ideal customer? This is why it's so important to understand your ideal customer, because you've got to know what's going to appeal to them. The next thing you're going to be thinking about is the standard, the quality. I'm talking here about the quality. Think right now about a supermarket. I'd like you to think about a supermarket, and many might come to mind. Think now about a high class supermarket, high quality, high standard supermarket. I'm sure it's one or two or a few come to mind. On the flip side of that, maybe think of a low quality or low priced supermarket. Again, some might spring to mind. In those two, whether it's high quality or low quality, you expect a certain price point when you go into one of those. So if it's the higher standard supermarket, you're going to expect a certain price point. On the flip side of that, you're going to expect a certain price point at say the lower standard supermarket. Do you see the example? So when you're thinking about the quality of your product or service, you need to be able to show that quality, because that is going to determine your price point, and that's going to determine your profits. So we're talking about 100 marketed to 100K, increasing your profit. That's important. Okay, so the standard, the quality. So when I was designing these cards, I could have just printed something off at home, but I went to a company that actually deals solely with flashcards, because I know the quality that I'm going to get. I got some prototypes, said that quality is great, and that's what I started talking about. And now when people buy them, a lot of the reviews, I actually get people talking about the quality. People buy quality. You know, when you buy something, that's how you get repeat customers, is based on quality. So you need to really be thinking about that with your product or service. The next thing that's really important, once you've got the look, you've got the quality, what does your product or service actually do? What are the benefits? What are the strengths? What are the features and benefits to the customer? We keep talking about the fact that this is your solution to their problem. Well, what is the benefits? What are the main features? What are they getting when they buy your product or service? And the more benefits or features that you have, is the higher the price point that you can charge, or the higher you can charge for it, the bigger the investment. Because people know they're not just buying one thing, but they're buying many. They're buying different features. So with the cards, younger children, they can learn the alphabet. Then they can make different words with them. So you get the alphabet, so you can make different words. You've then got the positivity on the back. I started speaking about the social aspect, the educational aspect, empowerment, self-esteem. So the more features and benefits you can add, the better. Customers want to know what they're actually getting for their money. Yeah. And from there, what you're doing is you're putting your stamp on. And here I'm talking about moving from just a product to a brand. Think about a brand that you love. You're buying that brand. When you buy something from that brand, when someone buys something, say a Gucci bag, okay? Other brands are also available. Someone buys they're not just buying that bag, because you can get a bag anywhere, but they're buying the brand. So if you want to become a brand, you want to give your product an identity. The best way to do that is to tell your story, to tell your brand story. People want to know. So when I talk about these cards, I start telling people about where it came from. So in wake of everything that was happening this year, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, I was really taken aback and started thinking about my daughter and how, I wanted her to be encouraged, no matter the color of her skin. I wanted to encourage her. I wanted her to build her self-esteem from a young age. So I tell that story. And actually what that does is parents in the first week, no, it wasn't even the first week, I think the pre-sales, I put that out. I told the story about these cards and how I designed them. I didn't even have, they weren't ready for sale. This was pre-sale. I put it out and I told the story, and I made nearly £2,000 in sale just before any ads. That was on my social media page, because I told the story. You want to sell your product more effectively? Tell the story. You may have heard stories sell. People want to know what's behind the product as well. That's where you put your stamp on it. So brand stories, that's what big brands do. They tell the story. They do an emotional thing. People want to feel an emotion when they think about your product or service. It's key. So the more, like I said, the way it looks, the quality, the more benefits and features, and then branding it and putting an identity stamp on it, the more the price, the higher the price point, the higher your profits, the investment. And this is what we're talking about. How do you increase your sales, market your way to 100K? Tell your product story, tell the brand story. All right. So when we're thinking about that, taking that to the next level, who now would love to increase their sales, but also get customer loyalty? You don't just want customers, you want repeat customers. Who would love to do that? Yeah. If I could see you, I'd ask you to wave your hands, maybe put a yes in the chat box. If you'd love to not only increase your sales, but get repeat customers. How do you do that? I'm going to talk to you now about having a value ladder. Now, you might sell your products for, say, £100. Okay, just pluck a figure out the air. You might sell your product for £100. Now, you have 3 customers. One customer has £100, one customer only has £50. So you could lose that customer. So the person who has £100, pay it, that's fine. You might then have a customer who only has £50. So you may lose them. The third person has £300 in his pocket. He'll give you the £100, but you've just left £200 on the table. So the way to get around that, how do you ensure that you get sales with all 3 customers? It's by using something called a value ladder. This is where you meet your customer where they are on the buying journey, the customer journey. People buy from those that they know, like, and trust. Some people are not just going to buy from you because they've seen you once and you've offered them your course or your product for your high-end product. They might not do that because they don't know you yet. They don't like or trust you. And I struggled with this for a long time. I'm putting out social media posts. I'm talking about all these stuff. I can help you break through and help your business, but people don't know me yet. They don't trust me yet. So how can you get around this? I help clients by talking about having an introductory of something that's free, something low cost to you, something that's low cost to you to produce, but you can give this away complimentary. This is going to introduce people to you and to your brand. So you have something free. That might be a free chapter. So you might have a book, for instance. You might do a free downloadable PDF of a chapter. All right, so they can get that free. It's called like a lead generator. So you might give that away on your website, your social media page. Download here and you get that free. People are going to read that, be introduced to you. You might then do now a low cost offer. So you might then give them the whole book. They buy the whole book. So they've had a free chapter. Now they're going to buy the whole book for a low cost, whatever that cost may be, £10 or whatever. You're then going to have your main offer. This might be a course that's based on the book. So this is a next level up, next price point, but it's one up from the book. So they've got the book now. Now they're going to contact you because they want to do the course. After that, you're going to have your premium offer. And this might be some one-to-one coaching based on that course. So do you see how that works? Now I had a client, Jackie, she is a tutor. When she came to me, she was tutoring, but she was doing one-to-one tutoring for quite a low cost. And I said to Jackie, you're missing out here. You're not valuing your value because you know the value that you bring and your price point is really low, but you're not getting out to enough people either. And there's no sort of loyalty, brand loyalty or customer loyalty. So what I did, we had a brainstorming session and I was like, what can you offer? What can you do? And we developed her value ladder. So her free item now became a downloadable worksheet that introduced and Georgia she could send that out. The low cost then was an introductory session. So people pay for that, but it's an introductory session, short session, so people get a taste of what she can do. The main offer then became group sessions, group tutoring. And her premium offer, because of her time now, she understood the value of that. People pay for that one-to-one extra value. That became a one-to-one tutoring, but that was a premium price point. Now your ladder can be longer than this. It can be more steps than this. But what I would ask you is, what can you put in your value ladder? How can you break up your product and offer more? It's a value ladder, but also a product mix. So actually now you're getting more clients, you're increasing your sales, you're increasing the amount of money that you can make, offer more. And it's also that sort of low cost, high volume versus high cost, low volume. Obviously, low cost, you need to sell more. Higher cost, you can sell less. Some people may go in straight to the premium offer, but some people won't, and you don't want to lose them. You want to take them on that customer journey. So that's really, really important, that value ladder. So if you haven't got that yet, I'd really strongly advise you to start thinking about that. Your value ladder. What can you offer? How can you break it down? So you've got your products, you've got your value ladder, you've got all of this, but like I keep saying, if nobody knows about you, you don't have a business, and you are not going to make that next 100K that we're talking about. All right. So we need to now think about promotion, telling your story, getting it out there, getting your solution out there to your ideal customer, because you want to increase your sales, attract new customers, encourage customer loyalty, and create awareness. All of these are the benefits of actually promotion. But how do you do that in such a crowded market? How do you do that where there's so many messages and there are so many people out there? How do how can you get that out there? Has anyone ever heard of the 7-touch principle? Let me know in the chat, or maybe just think about it. Have you ever heard about that 7-touch principle? Basically, let me tell you what that is. It is said that it takes at least 7 touches, 7 encounters with you or your product or your service or your brand for people to respond to your call to action. So they need to see you at least 7 times before they actually act. Think about something you've bought. Did you buy on the very first encounter? You may have done, but it's very rare. Sometimes it takes a few times to sort of, okay, yeah, keep seeing those. Something happens in the psyche. And to be effective, there needs to be a combination. So for you to promote your product or service, you need to be using a combination of these sort of things: physical connection, advert, logo, social media posts, etc. Now, I had this happen. A client of mine, she actually said to me, when I began working with her, she contacted me. She said she'd seen me some time ago. She'd seen me at an event, heard me speak. I was doing some training. So she started following me. So then she started seeing my social media posts. She then joined my database. So she was getting my emails. So she was getting email marketing. She was seeing a lot more of me. So she kept those touches. And then she contacted me and said, okay, I'd like a discovery call. We had a call. There was some other word of mouth, etc. But it wasn't a straight away. From the time she'd seen me some years ago, she didn't just start working with me. She had to keep seeing me. She remembered me. And that's the thing, when you understand what your USP is, your unique selling proposition, you want people to remember that, so that when they think about their problem, they say, that's the solution. And they'll keep remembering. You want to be memorable. Okay, you want to be visible and you want to be memorable. So that 7-touch principle is really important. And if you're just relying now on just posting on social media, it's not enough. Organic reach is being strangled. Social media is strangling your posts. Post, but you cannot rely on just that. You've got to be visible. You've got to be running paid ads. You've got to be utilizing media. You've got to be seen. Awards, are you going in for awards? All of that social proof as well. You've got to be doing that so that people get used to seeing you, seeing your brand. I was out the other day, I was actually out selling the card, and a few people, I had my banner up. People said, oh yeah, I've seen you on social media. This was a few people. Seen you oh yeah, I've seen you around. Oh, you work with so-and-so. You've got to be visible. If you want customer loyalty, if you want brand awareness, that's the key. So, like I said, I just want to give some stats. I was saying about how crowded it could be, and Melissa touched on it as well, about a crowded market. Right now, 2020, there are 7.6 billion people. That's the population. 4.2 billion users of the internet. 3.03 billion active social media users. 5.5 so on average, people have 5.54 social media accounts. 91% of retail brands are using 2 or more social media channels, and 81% of SMEs use some kind of social media platform. So it's crowded. There's a lot of noise. How are you going to stand out? You've got to know your USP. You've got to know what you do for your customer. You've got to be able to communicate that effectively, doing more than just post on social media, but making use of paid ads, like I said, media, putting in for awards. You've got to be visible, and you've got to tell your story. You've got to tell people why they should buy from you. What do you do, and why does it matter? If you forget anything I said, think about those 2 things. What do you do, and why does it matter? You've got to let people know why it matters and why they should buy from you. Right, so for interest of time, I know that Royston's going to talk a little bit more and take this a little bit further. So at this time, I'm going to hand over, but thank you for listening. Those are my social media accounts, and connect in with me. And I'm going to hand over to Royston to take this a little bit further at this time.
Wow. Thank you very much to Melissa and to Simone. That was truly a fantastic time so far. So look, I'm going to be continuing on now, but I'm going to be talking about process, price, and people. But before I go into that, I will obviously tell you a bit about who I am, right? So who am I? So my name is obviously Royston Cumberbatch. I go by RAC because that's what my middle name is, Andrew. So I'm just going to talk to you quite quickly through like my professional career. Yeah. So effectively, I was from Grenada originally, and yeah, my early career saw me living and traveling to Canada and stuff. And I was doing accountancy work from quite a young age, from since I was a teenager. So I became a financial controller, cost controller, working for hotels, working for retail industries. And I also taught evening classes to adults as well, to people who really wanted to understand more about business and accounting and stuff, even from the age of like, I think 21 or things like that. So I'm doing this for a very long time. And so I think about 400 people I actually taught altogether, you know, in business and accounting, and that kind of stuff, right? And effectively, I was really passionate about kind of accounting. It wasn't my first love. I wanted to be an engineer, you know. That's why I went to Canada, and my dad was going to sponsor me. He didn't help me, but I turned to accountancy. So I came to London, and I've been here since 1997. And I qualified as an accountant in 2000, and I obviously also completed a master's in business as well, because although I loved accounting, I wanted to know more about business. How does business work, you know? Because even working for businesses like in the city, etc., because I wanted to be an engineer, I always like to know, how does things really work? How does things fit together, you know? So that's when I did my my MBA, I focused on things like marketing, things like strategy, things like, you know, transformation. And that's why I'm a very all-rounded person. So I spent, I think, a good 19 years in financial services, but the first 10 years I was an employee. Yeah. And I've done a lot of work in investments, project management. I work across insurance, asset management, and banking. Now, all this time, I've been setting up and running my own accountancy firm. So I've done business with other people as well. For example, I had a company called Integritas, which is an accountancy firm, but I have my own consultancy practice and my accountancy firm, which has been running since 2011. And effectively, I'm also now a member of the Professional Speakers Academy. And as Melissa said earlier, that's where we met, I think like 3 years ago. And just by, you know, working together and understanding the real benefits actually of working together, we decided to form our own sort of collaboration, you know, our own mastermind, you know, and which is what obviously we're here talking to you more about the benefits of that as well. And I launched obviously money management training as well, because I'm really passionate about money management, because, you know, coming from a very humble background, I didn't have that sort of understanding about money when I was young. As a matter of fact, we never had money, you know. So I actually borrowed money to come to the UK, and effectively, I've worked in financial services for 19 years. So I'm really with money management and helping entrepreneurs to make more money. So you want here because you want to make your next 100K, right? And I actually came up with this blueprint,
Sorry,
which is,
sorry to stop you. We can't see your screen.
oh, you can't see my screen?
No.
Oh, what's happening?
Sorry, guys, but I don't want everyone to see your system.
Not sure what's happening there, but and I know, I think I know what the matter is, but sorry about that. Uh. So, can you see my screen or not?
No, unfortunately not.
Okay, let me
Here
just.
we are. It's on
So
its way.
it's fine. It's fine. Let me just do this one sec. Oops.
Sorry, guys, just having a few technical issues.
Yeah, sorry, it won't be long. Is that better?
That's better now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. So basically, so this is my system, which I created based on my experience, my 30 years experience in business and finance, based on working with hundreds of entrepreneurs as well. And I really created this blueprint. And this blueprint is really about business growth, profitability and sustainability. As you may know, most businesses fail. Yeah. And as someone who specializes in business and finance, I really studied why businesses fail and actually came up with the main reasons why they fail, which normally is around things like leadership, things like not understanding the customers well, which we talk about here today. And also sometimes just not even have a clear mission, exactly why they're in business. So my modules starts from motive, your why. It's all about your why and what's your vision, what's your mission, what's your mindset in business. Then it obviously goes to management, understanding financial all the numbers behind your business and make sure you can manage your business properly, making sure you also minimizing financial risk. Do you understand the cash flow statement? Do you understand the P&L? And do you understand how to make the right decisions? And then obviously come on to things like monitoring your business. And today I'll be talking to you about how to maximize your profits, right? Because we are here obviously to show you how to make your next 100K. So I'll be talking to you about the maximum profit generator, which is this module. And I also have a module to predict your cash flow. Yeah, which basically I think every entrepreneur, every business owner should be able to predict the cash flow and have enough reserves to last at least 6 to 12 months. But we will cover much more of that in some of the modules that we speak to people on the mastermind. So just to continue, and I'm conscious of time because I know I lost a bit of time, so like switching screen there. And so first of all, today I'm going to cover, as I said, people, processes, and price. But I'll start with people, because for me, people are the most important thing in marketing, right? Because people do business with people. Yeah, I mean, we all know that, right? Don't matter what your brand is, don't matter how strong your brand is. Some people actually hide behind their brand. You know what I mean? But I think what's really important is people want to know who is behind the brand, because people ultimately wants a good experience. I mean, we talked earlier about value, right? So the value people get, people kind of want to associate that with kind of the person, the kind of the brand proposition, right? And as well as obviously like people in business, right? If there's no people, there is no business. So your people are very important, but also from a kind of a promotional perspective, yeah, it's very important that you use the right people to do your marketing. So let's say you're outsourcing your marketing, let's say you're outsourcing your advertising, you have to also choose people who really understand your business, right? Because that's very, very, very much so important. I want to give you an example actually of when I actually was like doing some YouTube ads, etc. And someone just saw my YouTube ad, and they basically just like from my YouTube ad, they contacted me, and there's like, I was like, I got a phone call. I saw you on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to know more about you. And I was like, okay, they actually researched me, they went onto my website, they went on the company's house, and eventually they realized, yes, I am genuine, and they actually signed me up. I actually signed them up. And to be quite honest, just from that one client, I think I made like at least a good £5,000, you know. And that's because I'm not hiding behind my brand. So I'm saying it's very important for you not to hide behind your brand. It's very important for people to understand that, you know, you are part of the brand. And obviously there is two kind of brands. There is the business brand and there is the personal brand. Obviously, people is also so important from a perspective of when you talk about targeting. Because when you're running ads again, you want to understand, you know, the demographics of the people, right? You understand where they are, the segments, you know, you understand, okay, what do they like? Yeah. And obviously a niche is obviously a segment instead of segment. So all this is where actually people comes in, right? So people are very, very important. One, from a service perspective, and two, from a targeting and really understanding your customer perspective, right? Because we don't sell to machines, right? We all sell to people. And as I said, ultimately, depending on the kind of people you have, there could be a cost for you. But in marketing, what you want to do, right? You want to make sure that, you know, your marketing is making you money. Don't see marketing as a cost. If your marketing, yeah, is then giving you, say you spend, I don't know, £1,000 on marketing, and you made £3,000. That's basically a profit center. Yeah. But if you're just losing money on marketing because you're targeting the wrong people, then obviously that's basically a cost center. Yeah. So now I'm going to go on to like a bit more detail and a bit in terms of the kind of systems and stuff that you can actually use in marketing to actually target people. So I'll talk about processes. I also talk to you with one of my clients as well who actually worked with this year, who actually launched this year, called Rum Kick. Yeah, maybe you've seen them on Instagram. They actually worked with me because they launched and they didn't have any idea about how to actually run a business properly, how to market their business, and then they started working with me. So look, I'm sure you can think of some of the high performance businesses, you know, whether it's Amazon, sorry, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Tesco, whether it's any businesses, right? Whether it's like, I don't know, car dealership like BMW, all these businesses, right? What they basically do is that they improve the customer journey. They understand the customer journey. For example, I'm going to get my car service tomorrow, right? And you know, I called up Lexus and they was like, "Do you want us to come and pick you up? You know, or do you want us to, you know, to borrow a car whilst we actually servicing your car?" So all I'm saying here is that, you know, to really give customer satisfaction, you know, you want to make sure that you have good processes, right? And basically the whole customer journey is the complete end-to-end processes. Yeah, from the customer seeing your ad, from the customer seeing your promotion, to you actually you know, sending your goods and services to them. That should basically be a seamless process. Yeah, and it's very important in marketing to have cost-effective processes, as I said earlier, and also to automate wherever possible, right? Because by automation, you are saving costs, right? And because here's the deal, guys. Yeah, what you want in marketing is that you want to make sure, for example, that, you know, you have consistent processes. For example, when you want to like give your lead magnet out, right? When you want to give your lead magnet out, you want to make sure that those customers can basically see. Sorry, I'm just sorry, reading some of the chats as well. Yeah. So you want to make sure that those customers can really see a seamless and automated process from you. For example, a lead magnet, as we talked about earlier, is where you, for example, give something for free and then you have to collect the customer data. But where do you collect the data? You know, it has to be on a system. So what we use is things like landing pages, yeah. You know, mainly we use things like, you know, obviously like ClickFunnels is obviously one of the main ones. You can always use things like Aweber, you know, things like Active Campaign. They all have landing pages. And what you want to do is that you give the customer that lead magnet something for free. You obviously collect their email, but then behind the scenes, you can have automated processes, you know, to keep following them up, right? To keep following them up, basically to turn them into like a warm lead. Because as I think as Simon said earlier, people buy from you after 7 touch points. So maybe you put something out there and basically that customer, that prospective customer see that, they take it for free, but I actually don't buy one time. Even right now, I'm actually running some promotions for my new online program, but I'm giving away a free ebook. Even today, I've seen like people actually downloaded the ebook, but haven't bought. But again, I can go behind the scenes and see exactly what's happening. And you need the same in marketing, because marketing is all about data. It's all about data. So what happened actually with Rum Kick is that they launched a business, but basically they were very manual. They were very manual. They launched a business. They had a product. You know, most entrepreneurs are very passionate about the products, right? So they're passionate. You know, they created the great some rum he was doing for some time. You know, and he created this product, but then he didn't have like end-to-end kind of customer order process. So people would place an order on Instagram, and then he will get this inquiry. But you know, between him, his brother, and his partner, they all had different processes. So I came along and basically I streamlined, what I call the order management process for them. Yeah, and basically, within 6 months, by the way, guys, yeah, Rumkick made over 100K. Yeah, and it's not just from streamlining the processes. I also help them with things like Facebook marketing, things like like Google ads. I actually show them how to do engaging videos as well on YouTube, because you can drive a lot of traffic as well from YouTube and Facebook, etc. Right? So, well, however, you have to have the right systems, you have to have the right processes to actually send those people to those places. Because let's face it, traditional websites are a bit dead. Yeah, because when someone goes to a website, you can't really track them, and you can't really control where they go, right? So that's why you need to have the right processes in your business so that you can actually even keep records of the customer, what they did, and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, conscious of time, I can't go into all of that today. Marketing is a very technical subject, but we do cover this in a lot of detail on the mastermind group, right? So now I want to talk about pricing, right? So pricing, your pricing strategy hangs off your business strategy. It hangs off understanding your customer. Yeah, because effectively, yeah, you have to charge a price as well based on the perceived value. Yeah, because if effectively, customers see your products and services and they think, okay, they already have in their mind what value is that to them. Yeah, so your price, first of all, you have to know what value it is. You have to know how much does it cost you, right? Because obviously that's just one way of actually valuing it. But one way of valuing it, I think, as Simone said, is that what are the features, what are the benefits of these products? Yeah, because ultimately that kind of drives, okay, well, this is a very valuable product. Then the second thing is, am I in a niche? Am I in a niche market? Because if you're in a niche market and there's nothing else like your product, you can have a different pricing strategy. Obviously, from a pricing strategy perspective, I say back to your business strategy. Do you want to have like a market penetration, where even though you know that your product is very valuable, you go in with a low price just to get people buying your products and services? You may have heard of this technique called loss leaders. It happens a lot obviously in supermarkets. So what supermarkets actually do is that they have something that are discounted, and they have a leaflet that they give out, right? Whether it's all these big shops do, there's Argos, whereas all these big shops actually do it, and they give you a leaflet and say these things are on sale, these things are on sale. So what you do is that you go to buy the things that are on sale, but effectively you end up buying things that are more expensive. It's a pricing strategy. Yeah. So as I said earlier, they're just various strategies depending on your overall kind of marketing strategy. Okay. But importantly, I want to talk about price versus value. Price versus value, right? Because this actually happened to me, right? So effectively, I was obviously a consultant for a long time and working with big clients, and I had to understand my value, because when you go off for a contract, it's always based on like how much is it per day, how much is it per hour. Yeah. So basically, value is what you give. Yeah, and price is what the customers pay. Yes. So you have to actually understand that you give, and the more value you give, basically the higher price that you can demand. And your value will not just be the physical product. Your value can come in things like, for example, the customer service, the follow-up sequence, you know what I mean? Making sure the customers really know how to use the products and services, right? I mean, so is very important. As a matter of fact, one of the companies that I worked for, which is called like New Age Electrical Company, I worked with, sorry, what actually happened to them is that they, they had a product that didn't know what the value was. So they were not making enough profit. They were basically undercharging people for the electrical work. And when I started working with him and actually reviewing him end to end, exactly what he does, I actually realized that he can put his price up and obviously streamline his processes. Yeah. And by doing that, he was able to make at least, I think, 97K within the next year. And then he was obviously able to buy a second property within within like, I think 3 months of actually working with him. So look, guys, so the challenge is knowing exactly, yeah, the value of your products and services. So as I said earlier, when I actually went for a contract, I think with Lloyd's Banking Group, I was actually headhunted to a company, and I went for the interview, and we had the interview. I was obviously headhunted. I am the man for the job, and all that kind of stuff. And the guy asked me like, how much am I per day, So I said, well, I said, I'm cheap, I'm 800. I thought being sarcastic. I said, I'm cheap, But when I actually went to the client and started working, because I was a program manager there, I realized that they were actually charging the customer 1,400. Basically, I undervalued even myself. You know what I mean? I undervalued myself, And all I'm saying to you is that you have to really know the value of your products and services. Maybe you're not in the service business. Maybe you're in the product business, yeah? Maybe like I think like obviously like Julie, who does hair products, yeah? And your hair products, that your hair products are more valuable than the ordinary cheap products that are on the market. But what you have to do is to communicate that clearly to your customer and actually try to sell them the features and the benefits of the product. So the communication is very, very important. Your messaging, your marketing message is important, right? And I guess with going back to the case with Lloyd's, I guess me saying that I was cheap because obviously it's a big consultancy company, and I should have known actually that I should have been charging at least 100K minimum a day. Sorry, 1,000 a day. I'm just teasing here. Obviously, I am worth 100K a day, I'm saying, but obviously, I couldn't charge it at a particular point in time. So anyway, so conscious of time, and obviously, I know I've obviously messed up with the slides as well. I think what actually happened, I was actually recording some of the slides earlier for my other colleagues, and I think when I had to switch from recording to not recording, it kind of messed me up. Technology can always mess us up, but these things happen. But look, guys, so this is just some of the I just give you a tip of the iceberg here, but obviously you can obviously get more in-depth from us in the Q&A as well. We are going to be having a Q&A at the end. So I think that there were some questions that are flying in as well. We're going to answer all the questions, but this is where you can find me on social media, and Royston A. Cumberbatch, Royston Cumberbatch, yeah. So thank you very much. And so far, guys, I want to ask you a question, right? So we've been on this webinar thing for probably a good, I don't know, well over an hour anyway. I want to ask you a question. Have you found this content valuable to date? So far, how has the content been for you so far? If you found this valuable, please put a yes in the chat box. If you found what we shared so far valuable, I want to see some more yeses coming in, please. If you obviously found it, as I can see, obviously Ola, yes. If you found it valuable, look, obviously we still have some more to go. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Ola. Thank you, Galaxy. Right. Well, let me ask you another question. Yeah. Let me ask you another question. So, will it be okay if we talk to you about the possible next steps for you? Would that be okay? If that's okay for you, then please put a yes in the chat box. If you're happy for us to talk to you about the possible next steps for you, please put a yes in the chat box. And I will wait until I get some more yeses. I can see so a few yeses are coming in. Great. Great. That's great. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to talk to you a little between myself and Melissa and Simone as well. We are going to talk to you in a little bit about the mastermind that we are actually running as well. Right. So first of all, the concept of a mastermind, yeah, is that it's a collaboration. It's people working together. Like we are working together. We've been working together all through the lockdown, and we've been sharing insights. We've been sharing knowledge. We've been sharing our systems. We've been sharing our wins. We've been sharing things that are working for us, and we found immense success from that. And from that, as a matter of fact, we even decided to form this joint venture. You know what I mean? And we continue to work together. We actually meet twice weekly. That's how much we love each other. I think last week we actually met for half a day, face to face in Northampton. So we really love working with each other. And we decided to form a mastermind group where we can take, bits from our system and share with people. And what we're going to do, right, is that we're going to share this with you over 7 weeks. So starting on the 2nd of November, we are launching this 7-week program. Yeah, and if effectively it's going to be weekly meetings, and it's going to run from 7 to 9 p.m. It's going to be online, of course, because of the lockdown, you know what I mean? And effectively, every week, we're going to have a key area of focus, right? We're going to share some content, but this wouldn't be content driven. This will be more about spotlighting businesses. So every week, we are going to spotlight 2 businesses. And what does spotlight mean? Spotlight means that we're going to put your business in the spotlight, and we're going to let you tell us what are your major challenges. We're going to make you tell us what's your mission, what's your vision, what are you trying to achieve, and based on that, we will then be giving you breakthroughs right there and then. So every week, 2 businesses will get some breakthroughs, and you who are in the mastermind will also get to hear how these businesses are getting breakthroughs. So by the end of it, let's say, for example, I don't know, we had 15 businesses, yeah? At the end of the 7 weeks, you will get to see insights from 15 businesses, what's working for them, what's not working well, and how can they improve stuff. And we'll be sharing great insights, even from our experience. It wouldn't just be on marketing, and obviously we will go through all the modules just a bit, but it's going to be a great mastermind program. Every week as well, there'll be open Q&A. So after the business spotlight, we're also going to have an open Q&A. And we also have an interactive quiz as well. We have a great tool, I love this tool, where we ask questions and then you get to sort of put some answers as well, right? So hopefully you can see that this is obviously hugely beneficial. Yeah. So who is this for? Well, obviously, this is for you. This is for you because you're obviously on here. You are a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. When we marketed this webinar, we said these business owners and entrepreneurs, so and that's for you, right? But effectively, we are looking for people who are at least turning over around 100K per annum. Why 100K per annum? Because these are people who have been in business potentially for a while, and they're now willing to make the next 100K. Yeah, and we will go into in depth on the marketing strategies. I'm very technical on all these click funnels, all this ads, etc. We'll go on to obviously Melissa and Simon. Look, everyone is a guru in their own right. Melissa run her own estate agency. I think she sold it for a 7-figure sum. Someone being in business for a while, you saw the flashcards and all that kind of stuff. We are in business. Yeah, we are business people in business for business owners. So we're going to really help you to go to the next level. So look, you must be ready to implement, because what we want is action takers. Yeah, we want people who are ready to take their business to the next level. Yeah, and you must be coachable. And what I mean by being coachable, I mean that what we're going to actually be doing as part of the mastermind program, we're going to have some breakout sessions as well. I think probably in one of the sessions going to be just pure breakout where we coach you as well. You know what I mean? Even from the mastermind program itself, you may then want to work with a few of us, like one-on-one coaching sessions, right? Or even during the mastermind, we'll be there to support you and coach you. But you must be able to be coachable, meaning that when we share things with you, when we give you feedback, you can take the feedback in a positive note and actually go and implement it, okay? And you must be committed to attending all sessions, okay? But most importantly, you must be determined, ready to grow your business, yeah? And you must be able to collaborate because effectively there are many different business owners coming together, different backgrounds, etc. So you must be able to collaborate and work together. Yeah. So if you like the sound of this so far, please put a yes in the chat box. If you like what you're hearing, please put some yes into the chat box. Because basically, right, guys, iron sharpen iron. Yeah, iron sharpen iron. And basically, you can attend the online because online is from anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, what country you are, what location you are. You can attend. And of course, we want you to attend, but we also record it so you can listen it back in your own time. And if you miss something during the mastermind, you can then listen it back. Yeah, you can have a replay of it, in your own timing, and that will really help you for the content to actually to sink in. As I said earlier, there'll be weekly breakthrough sessions for your businesses. There'll also be opportunities for you to network because we obviously have a private Facebook community, which will put you in for the lifetime of the program. And you can even form joint ventures. Look, we formed a joint venture by working together. I mean, we met through like obviously public speaking academy, and here we are working together and doing business together. So by being on a mastermind, you might find your business, you might find your business partner. You never know. And you might go to your next 100K probably in 6 months just by working on the mastermind. And you find, because obviously you'll be in a Facebook community where you can share content, where you can talk about your business, where you can chat, etc. And it's going to be 2 hours each. I've said already, interactive educational sessions. Yeah. So look, guys, Melissa will talk you through the modules now in this mastermind in a bit more detail, just to kind of change up the scenery and give a fresh new face here.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you to both Roy and Simone for your presentations, and thank you for giving the overview of the mastermind program. So Roy already said we kind of scratched the surface, the tip of the iceberg in the content that we're able to give. It's so challenging to squeeze it into a 20-minute presentation, content that would normally take hours or a day to deliver. So just to give you a quick overview of the content that we'll be going into more detail through the mastermind program, bearing in mind it's a 7-week program, so the 7 key modules that will be, the 6 key modules we'll be running through. So the first one is the renewed focus formula. Now, mindset is everything in business. If your mindset isn't in the right place, then your business will not be running effectively. So in this module, we're focusing really on understanding the importance of having a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset, giving you the tools and the strategies to implement to ensure that you're always thinking from a growth mindset, because that's what it takes to be an effective and successful entrepreneur and business owner. You need to have a growth mindset, especially when you're operating in challenging times with lots of negativity around you. Having a positive growth mindset is key. It's also about reconnecting with your business purpose, your business vision, and ensuring that everything you're doing is in alignment with that. The second module is the pursuit of success strategy. This is where we start to deep dive into your business and your strategic plans. So this is where we start to bring everything together. A lot of entrepreneurs have great ideas, and as Roy said earlier, lots of passion, but no plan. So this is where we start to really cement your plan, understanding the structure of your business. Even though you'll already be in business, sometimes you need to revisit your structure and make tweaks because the environment changes, clients change, lots of external factors can change, which means that internally your structure has to be able to effectively reflect that. The third module is the maximum profit generator. This is where I touched very quickly on the value proposition, and this is where we go into more detail. So we really filling in all of those gaps for your value proposition to ensure that you've effectively compounded that and you're communicating that effectively with your clients. Remember that the ultimate aim is so that you can increase your profits, your turnover and your profit for your business. We also look at strategies and techniques to increase the perceived value and price of your products and services, which is what Roy touched on a moment ago. Thank you, Roy, clicking fast. The fourth module is the time to shine technique. And this is how, as Simone touched on earlier, it's looking at ways in which you can better promote your products and services. Sometimes you may have a brilliant product or service, you're just not effectively promoting it, which is where you're leaving sales at the door, you're leaving money on the table that we need to convert into your business. And it's also looking at how you can avoid the trap of the feast and famine, because often businesses, when they're in feast mode, they take their foot off the gas and they stop marketing. But it's important to continually market even when you're in feast mode, because when the famine comes, as Roy mentioned, you need reserves. So that's where we look at those strategies to ensure that you're not caught out. The fifth module is the stress-free financial solution. Now, lots of entrepreneurs and business owners shy away from the figures, and it's very, very common. So this is where we look at how we can use systems and programs to ease the financial stress that you may be experiencing in your business, how you can streamline, how you kind of have your effective targets. You can see instantly where you're at in terms of what income you've brought in at a snapshot. So it's really about having those key systems in your business so that your finances are clear and your forecasts are clear and you know exactly where you are and where you're going financially. And the sixth module is the financial risk formula. So this is where we're now looking in more detail around your governance and your structures around your finances. So by the end of it, you will appreciate how finance and business works together to effectively strengthen, because your cash flow is king, cash is king. And if you're not making a profit, then why are you in business? So by having these formulas and these models in place, this will ensure that you're running effectively and adding that extra 100K to your bottom line minimum. So those are the 6 modules. In total, you have 31.5 hours of coaching that is combined between the 3 of us, as all 3 of us will be at each mastermind meeting, ensuring that we're inputting, we're guiding you, we're there to answer any questions. And that generally, for the next slide, sorry, Roy, comes to a total value of 7,690. This is what we market and we retail these programs at. However, we're also throwing in extra bonuses for you, webinar special bonuses. So you get ongoing support. Now, when I say ongoing support, that's for the lifetime of the mastermind program. If you need extra support outside of the sessions, you can email us or you can call us so we can give you that additional guidance. We understand how sometimes you can be faced with barriers where you just need that instant solution. So we're there to help you with that. Another bonus will be, yes, this was a great idea. We thought, you know what, actually, when you've hit your extra 100K, we're going to take you out. And we're not talking about a McDonald's dinner. We're talking about a really nice, in the environments that we should be operating in standardly. So that will be dinner with all 3 of us. Another bonus is the online Facebook community. As Simone mentioned, iron sharpens iron. So everybody on the program will be in a Facebook community. So outside of the sessions, you've got that ongoing interaction and dialogue with one another where you can share ideas, test your products, services, get feedback from one another. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So that's where you will have all of those benefits. And the total value is 8,890 with all of that included. However, for today, and we're keeping this offer open literally for 48 hours. It has to be time bound. There's limited spaces, but we're offering you a webinar special price for the entire mastermind program with all of those bonuses for a grand total of 1,247. So that's just 1,247 for the 7-week mastermind program with the additional support and bonuses. But as I said, it's open for literally 48 hours and then we are closing the doors on this one. And I'll hand over to Simone, who will tell you a little bit more and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Royston. Guys, honestly, I would encourage you to take this offer up. The value that is going to be delivered it's you can't put a cost on that. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, you're going to want to join this mastermind, working collaboratively. Royston will put the link in. There is also a payment plan, but if you look on the link that Royston is going to put in the chat, which has just gone in the chat, as you can see, lights up there, then press that, you'll get all the information. But as Melissa said, it's only going to be open for 48 hours. So let's jump in. I was monitoring whether there were any questions. There was just one so far, and we are running out of time. We really want to be respectful of your time as well. So I will just, there's one question so far. How does one go about knowing where to find one's ideal customers and market to them? Simone spoke of knowing your ideal customer and knowing what appeals to them, but the question is how? Greetings, Susie. Thank you, Susie, for that question. Any of the panelists want to jump in, or shall I take it?
I'd say you can take it, Simone, but I'd say the how, there's lots of strategies around that, which is what we really cover in the mastermind program, because there's lots and lots of different layers, lots of techniques for the how. It's not something that you can really answer in one sentence. There's multiple techniques online and offline, but it starts with identifying who they are, which segments of the market you're targeting, which narrows it down, and then implementing the tools and techniques, which again, that's a whole session within itself.
Exactly, which is what I was going to follow on. It's about, and that's why we stress so heavily about knowing who they are, and there's an actual system that we go through about how you do that. Then you'll know how to find them. You've got to know your ideal client inside out, know where they hang out, know where you be, and know how to attract them. So, Royston, you were going to add to that.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, I think on the how, obviously we have market intelligence, right? So market intelligence is obviously about analyzing the customers, analyzing the markets, actually different markets on actually, and obviously within the market intelligence, you have obviously different customers in the markets, right? So let's say, for example, you have like supermarkets, right? So supermarkets is obviously, that's the market, but then there are people who like value products, yeah. And what the supermarkets actually do is that they obviously have data. So I think how to really know is to really analyze data, understand, where, as I think, as Simone said, where do they hang out? What do they like? So based on understanding what customers like, what their behaviors, then we can potentially say, okay, right. So we can target them. Also, sometimes there's also a gap in the market, understanding customers' pains, because the best businesses I've found is that what they actually do is that they come up with products that actually, as Melissa actually said, either relieve a pain or create a gain. So these customers have pains, and they want gains, so therefore you have to just understand that, keep your ears open, do some market analysis. Look on forums, for example. One way is actually just look on forums, look on forums and see what people are complaining about. And then you actually realize, okay, this is how I can tailor my solution.
Exactly. Thank you, guys. We have actually come to the end. Now, some of you may have some more questions. I would almost 100% guarantee that the question that you have is answered in the mastermind, because this is, like Melissa said, we could only really scratch, and Royston said it, scratch the surface. This is such a wide topic that we really want to be able to do it the justice and give you the tools and techniques to really maximize your business success and improve and increase your profits and sales. So if you want to sign up, thank you. We've got someone saying that they're signing up right now. I'm signing out now and signing up to the mastermind. So if you want to get more answers to your questions, sign up. The link has gone into the chat. We'll put it in again. We'll also message out to you, so just in case you missed that, save the chat so that you're able to get that link. But once again, we just thank you for joining us this evening, and we hope and we know that you will have some steps that you can go away and implement immediately to move your business forward. But like I said, the next step is joining the mastermind. There's something powerful about working collaboratively, and that's what we're doing. We've seen the business success that we're getting. Right now we're increasing our client base, we're getting increasing our profits, and we want that for you. Yeah, so sign up. That's the next step. Thank you. We will send you the message. And once again, thank you for joining us. Take care of yourselves.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.